The following is a DW Old Testament production. Joseph, Jacob's favorite son, was sold into slavery in Egypt by his brothers around 1700 BC. He quickly rose from adversity to become the second most powerful person in Egypt. His story is full of details that modern scholars have been able to actually connect to historical facts. The idea that Joseph, a Hebrew slave, could become the Pharaoh's highest governing official is not as fanciful as it might sound. At about the time of his arrival between 1720 and 1700 BC, Egypt was invaded by a Syro-Canaanite alliance called the Hyksos by the Egyptians. These invaders established their own line of pharaohs and ruled the country for about 150 years. Hated foreigners themselves, it was likely that the Hyksos might trust someone like Joseph before they would trust any native Egyptian. Another part of the narrative in which the pharaoh acquired most of the country's land during the famine would be easy to understand if Egypt had been under the Hyksos. Joseph's ability to interpret dreams would certainly have attracted attention in Egypt, where the ancient arts of magic and divining were highly respected. Also, the various titles given Joseph by Potiphar and the pharaoh are exact translations of the Egyptian offices, and the description of Joseph's swearing in as prime minister came from someone familiar with such ceremonies. Joseph's reunion with his brothers is another event that mirrors historical conditions. It was a period of famine throughout the Near East, and in the time of hardship from famine, it was apparently an old Egyptian policy to allow nomads from other countries into the land, since Egypt often had a surplus of grain in the pharaoh's storehouses. The region of Goshen in the fertile Nile Delta could sustain great numbers of peoples and their flocks, and would have been a logical place for the Hebrews to settle. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they gained possession in it, and were fruitful, and multiplied exceedingly. Genesis 47:27.